we want to solve the equation 3.5h equals 13.3. We can also read this equation as 3 5/10 h equals 13 3/10. 3.5h means 3.5 times h, and therefore the solution to the equation is the value of h that makes the product on the left equal to 13.3. To solve for h, we need to isolate h on one side of the equation, and because h is on the left side, our solution will be in the form h equals some value, again, that makes this product equal to 13.3. So looking at the left side, again, because 3.5h means 3.5 times h, to solve this equation for h, we need to undo the multiplication by performing the inverse operation or opposite operation. And because the opposite operation of multiplication is division, we are going to divide both sides by 3.5 in order to solve for h. If we divide the left side by 3.5, we must also divide the right side by 3.5 to maintain the equality. Now looking at the left side of the equation, 3.5 divided by 3.5 is equal to 1, so the left side simplifies to 1h, and 1h is just h. We can also think of dividing by 3.5 undoes the multiplication involving 3.5, leaving us with just the variable h on the left side. And therefore 1h or h is equal to this quotient here. Let's find this quotient on the side. So we have 13.3 divided by 3.5. When performing division involving decimals, we always want the divisor to be a whole number. To make 3.5 a whole number, we would have to multiply by 10, which is the same as moving the decimal point to the right one place to here. And we can do this as long as we do the same to the dividend. If we multiply the dividend by 10, it's the same as moving the decimal point to the right one place to here. Next, we move the decimal point up into the quotient and divide like we normally do. But let's take a moment and explain why we're allowed to move the decimal point here and here. The original fraction was 13.3 over 3.5. We know we can create equivalent fractions by multiplying the numerator and denominator by the same value. So if we multiply the numerator by 10 and the denominator by 10, notice how we do get 133 over 35, which does give us the quotient we have here of 133 divided by 35. To begin dividing, we first need to determine how many 35s in 133. 2 times 35 is equal to 70, and therefore 4 times 35 is equal to 140. 133 is less than 140, and therefore there are 3 35s in 133. And now we multiply. 3 times 5 is 15. Perform an exchange with the 1. 3 times 3 is 9 plus 1 is 10. And now we subtract. We need to perform an exchange here. The 3 changes to a 2. Now we have 13 ones. 13 minus 5 is 8. 2 minus 0 is 2. And 1 minus 1 is 0. Because we're looking for the quotient as a decimal, we need to continue dividing. To do this, we can add a 0 to the right of the decimal point in the dividend here. Notice by adding a 0 here, because of the decimal point, we're not changing the value of the dividend. Now we can bring the 0 down and determine how many 35s in 280. Well, we know that 4 times 35 is 140. 140 is half of 280, and therefore there are 8 35s in 280. Let's check our multiplication. 8 times 5 is 40. Perform an exchange with the 4. 8 times 3 is 24 plus 4, which is 28. Notice now we get our difference of 0, and therefore our quotient is 3.8. So now we know 1h equals 3.8, and because 1h equals h, our solution is h equals 3.8. Before we go, let's check our solution by substituting 3.8 for h in the equation and making sure it satisfies the equation. If we substitute 3.8 for h, we would have 3.5 times 3.8 equals 13.3. Let's check this product on the calculator to make sure it is 13.3. 3.5 times 3.8 is 13.3, verifying our solution is correct. before we go, let's check one more thing on the calculator. Remember, the original quotient was 13.3 divided by 3.5, which is 3.8, but we found this quotient by dividing 133 by 35. Notice 133 divided by 35 does give us the same quotient. I hope you found this helpful.